aligned with Proclaimer Christian Drama Ministry, Providence, Rhode Island, United States. This episode we'll be talking about marriage. And we all know marriage is the first institution established by God himself. And definitely a failed marriage is not God's plan. But these days we have been afflicted, our society has been afflicted with a very high divorce rate and failed marriages and broken homes. And so my name, by the way of introduction, my name is Jide Oni, and co-hosting this program with me is
Oluwaseun Olayele. We are so blessed to have with us a very young couple on this episode. They have achieved an impressive and enviable success in the area of marriage. They have been married for 50 good years. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. It is my pleasure to introduce to you today our special guest, Mr. and Mrs. Oloyede. Thank you, sir and ma, for joining us. May we know you?
I will introduce myself, my name, but before that, I give a song. Come and see, oh, come and see. Come and see, oh, come and see. Come and see what the God has done. Come and see what the Lord has done. Come and see what the Lord has done. Come and see what the Lord has done. I am proud to say my name, Michael Ibikunle Oloyede. Michael Ibikunle Oloyede.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I was expecting you to introduce your wife to us as well, to mommy to us.
All right.
My name is Deborah Olufumilai Oloyede.
It's an honor to have you both on this episode. We are really, really very privileged to have you. Thank you for honoring our invite. So we know 50 years is not a joke. 50 years is not a joke, and we know that. So we know many young adults and people of our generation are really struggling in the marriages now. We have marriages not even lasting up to 5 years, marriages of a year being broken. But here you are for 50 years, like something actually made it work. We know God is a factor, but something worked. So, and that's why we have brought you, we have invited you to share a little bit of your experience and how you have come this far. And we hope that this is going to be an exciting moment. So I think the first question I want to ask you is that, how did you both meet?
Very interesting. It's all God's doing. God has brought us together. It came up at the initial stage as a sort of playboy with a damsel. We were to watch a football match. And my old uncle, a retired teacher, administrator, took us in his car and we went to the field, to the stadium, precisely. We started talking. And luckily, it happened that we grew up together when we were to Shogu as toddlers.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's not a question of two families coming together anew. It has been established. So it's God's doing.
Wow.
We talked love,
Wow.
and the onward progress continued like that.
Wow. That's amazing. So, Mommy, what do you want to tell about that story? Can we hear your version?
I don't think I have much to say. Let me put it this way. It is a home that is ordained by God. Because I never thought we would get married then. But being the interest of both of us and the help of his uncle. We met. So that time there was a match at Ado Ekiti. So we wanted to go there, but initially I thought I wouldn't go. But being the what God had planned that day, so we went. As we were watching, the old man was not very close to us, so we started talking, and that was it.
When you mean the old man, you're talking about his uncle, right?
His uncle,
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay.
It was the uncle that initiated everything. It was the uncle.
It was a master plan.
That's awesome.
So it was the one that God actually used to bring to build this home together.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh wow,
Awesome.
wow,
That's
wow,
awesome.
wow. That's very beautiful.
In addition to that,
Yes, sir.
I earlier told you my uncle happened to be an old teacher, an old Andrian. So he knows what he wants to get, and he knows the way to approach it.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
My
I did-
father-in-law happened to be somebody who grew up through him when he was young.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a question of, it's not by accident.
Wow. That's
So my
very
uncle
amazing.
knew what he was driving at and what he wanted to achieve.
And he got it.
He could tell the background of an in-law to be.
Hmm.
He knew it for short,
That's amazing.
and he went on with it.
Great.
But unknown to the two of
Both
us.
of us. All right. So, if I may ask, because we're still talking about, because it's still amazing. It still amazes me. Like 50 years, it's not a joke. Yes, we know that there's a God factor in it, but whatever God has even ordained, it's sometimes there's some marriages that God actually ordained, but they don't even last this long. So there are actually some roles that you both have played individually that contributed to this success. Do you want to share one of those things that you know, aside from the God factor now? Do you want to share one or two things that you feel like that you both did on separately that have contributed to this success?
Thank you. The capital letters are tolerance.
Point number one.
We happen to know ourselves physically, our background of different states. No two people can grow together amicably when they don't understand themselves. So we understand each other, the do's and don'ts. We're able to forgive and forget when misunderstanding arise.
Thank you, sir. So, mommy, let's go back to the days of like the first 5 years of marriage, when you have not really understood each other. I mean, for instance, you were telling me something about you and your wife last week. Like when you are hungry, that's when she's gonna be cooking the best food in the house.
Right.
So, can you share with us a little bit how you because I understand that the essential part of marriage is the first 10 years. That if couples are able to make through the first 10 years of their marriage, they are hopeful that they are going to end well. So, can you share with us the tips of you as a young couple, just coming from your parents' house with different backgrounds?
Thank you. My parents, I can say they are my model, because for the little time I was with them, I never saw the two of them exchange words. They never fought. Oh, their love was there. No misunderstanding at all. So, and even when we met, my mother then was telling me, remember where you come from, and remember this, the daughter of who you are. So, but personally, I'm the quiet type. So, I do not take offense seriously anyway, let me put it that way. And there is a saying in Yoruba, I don't know.
Yeah,
in
yes, yes,
Yoruba, wọ́n ní tí ènìyàn kan bá jẹ́ ewúrẹ́, èèyàn kan láti jẹ́ àgùntàn. I was the quiet type, and on his own part, I can say he's an extrovert to an extent. So then, for the first 5 years, I can say, I was with, we were living in the family house. Then at a certain time, he wasn't around. He was in Lagos. I was in Ekiti then. So, and I was in the midst of in-laws. They were all friendly. So then I had no cause to doubt the love and maybe the love, let me put it that way, because the family were friendly, they were loving. So when the family appreciated me like that, I have no cause not to extend my own part to him. So then, for the first 5 years, I don't think there was any cause for misunderstanding. There wasn't any cause for that. So we were getting along and learning, learning how he reacts to situations, then the way he reacts will tell me what to do. So I had to study him rather, and then the environment. So because the in-laws, they were very friendly. I too, they didn't complain about me at all. So I had no cause to complain. Then we didn't fight, so there was nothing like reporting him or reporting me. So I think that one helped a bit.
Okay, that's actually very interesting too. But we all know that there is no marriage that is actually perfect. Now, this is a very, very successful marriage, 50 years. But this is not a marriage that would have made it this far without some challenges or some problems like that. I'm sure during the journey you might have encountered some situations, but you were able to overcome them. Do you mind sharing some of those some situations that actually shook, and how you were able to overcome them?
Thank you. Challenges are bound to abound, because she happened to be a woman, I happened to be a man. And in the Yoruba context, Okolo lori aya. Now we got married as teachers. We were teachers then. She was a teacher, I was a teacher. I had the first confrontation direct from my sister-in-law, who said, look, come to Lagos and we will give to you a rich man who has the money, who has the position, who has everything. I said this is a challenge. This was a challenge. This is one of the reasons why I broke up from teaching line and decided to come to Lagos.
Wow.
To make a better life, a better life in the future.
Wow, that's very impressive.
I left my wife teaching back at home.
Wow.
And I appreciate God. We had our firstborn. The same year we got married.
Oh, beautiful.
My mother-in-law stood a pillar to nurture the child we were very proud of. By year 2023, our first child will be 50 years.
Hallelujah.
To God be the glory.
So challenges were overcome
That's
because I had a very stiff opposition. But I didn't allow this to distract my attention and my love for my jewel.
man.
That's really impressive.
I don't even know what to say.
You being able to just take up the task that, okay,
Wow.
if this is going to take my wife away from me, then I'll go get it. And that's what you did. And look
Yeah.
at you today. I'm really proud of that.
That's a big sacrifice on both of you's part. I mean, just taking the decision to fight for love and
Yeah.
sacrificing being together, I think that's really, really, really impressive.
But Daddy, you know, I believe that you are aware of the rate at which marriages are failing in this, especially in our generation. What do you think, or where do you think they are getting it wrong, or where are we actually getting it wrong? You mentioned tolerance now, because even when I moved to this country, I realized that the level of tolerance, even the divorce rate in this country, is even higher than where I've ever even imagined. But so that tolerance is a very, very, very big factor that affects marriages. What other area do you think we are getting it wrong as young adults or the younger generation?
Thank you. Trust. Well, as young couples, my wife trusted me. And I trust her in anything. And this was what motivated my leaving her behind and coming to Lagos. I trusted she would remain a good wife. She trusted me I would remain a good husband. So trust is the pillar stone of what brought us, made us stay as husband and wife.
I have a question for Mommy. So when you took that step of going to Lagos, I think that was a big sacrifice on your side, because now you have to handle the
huge
baby,
one.
Exactly.
you have to handle a lot of things by yourself. How did you feel, and what can you tell to people that are going through that right now, that have to being away from their husband and just the sacrifice to make the family okay? What advice will you give to those people right now?
I think trust is very important. Then we shouldn't run after material things. Greed.
Mommy, that one is hard to preach in our generation. It's hard to preach in our generation now.
Then I can't remember if I ever kept friends then. I'm not the type who keeps friends, you know. If then I had a friend, that friend would have maybe asked me why
Used to be.
I stayed behind.
Right. When your
And my
husband was in
husband was in Lagos.
Yeah, you know what happens in Lagos.
So I had nobody then that can tell me such. And again, as I've said, the in-laws really helped a lot, because my firstborn then was going to not up to a year when he left. He wasn't up to a year. So, and then I was teaching. I mean, if I come back from school, all I had to do is stay at home,
Nurture the child.
then take care of the baby, and then there wasn't any distractions. You know, nowadays, you can go and visit a friend, you chat, you discuss what, even some of the discussion may not be valuable to you, but then there wasn't anything like that.
Wow.
If at all you want to occupy yourself, then you occupy it yourself meaningfully. Because before he left, he had this thing, rabbit. He was rearing rabbit then.
Eworo.
Oh, so I was managing it. So preparing stew anytime wasn't a problem. And then things were easy, unlike now. So I think greed is part of what is spoiling marriages nowadays. And then influence of friends.
Yes.
So many distractions.
Exactly,
The world is full of so
exactly.
many distractions.
Because you will see some friends telling you that, so you are taking this from him. Me, I can't take it too.
Yes.
Whereas in
They're doing more than that in where they are.
oh, so
Yes.
Actually, my parents, this year is going to be their 49th year of marriage too, of being together too. But my dad always says something. He says, if you are in a marriage, or if you are going into a marriage, and you are not able to say, I am sorry for something that you are not even guilty of, then you are not supposed to be in that marriage. So like, it's just trying to say, learning to say I'm sorry even when you are wrong. So how well do you agree with this?
anyway, if I can say, I told you I'm the quiet type. If at all he offends, I won't say anything. I will just keep to myself. So immediately he notices such, he knows that something
It's
is really happening. So there was never a time I challenge or confront. Instead of me to do that, I just stay on my own. I keep to myself. So by the time, after some time, then after all, what is there? I'm married. There is no way I'm going. Even if I want to go, who is going to accept me? Nobody. Because I wasn't forced on him, and he too was not forced on me.
So Daddy,
So
how was it easy to say sorry to mommy at first? How easy was it?
Thank you. From the word go, I was focused because I know I've not made a mistake by really proposing love to her. So, ordinarily saying I am sorry, it's no big deal. And up till now, when I want to say, by my characteristics, if I feel that things are getting wrong, I say, darling, I'm sorry. She accepts me. And one thing too, Yoruba says, "Onofun." Very good cook.
Very good cook. I was still sharing with her,
Yes.
when was that? When did
Yes,
I-
last week. Last week.
Yeah, last
Sunday.
week. I was telling her that whenever I'm in a argument with my wife, I don't know whether it's a setup, she just cooks the best meal. And I get hungry the more, but I'll have to wait until when she goes to bed, then I go to the kitchen.
So we thank God for everything.
Yes.
From the word go, I was focused. I knew her attributes, and I went along with that. I love food. Good food for that matter.
And it's showing on your face, that is
And
looking
you on the
fresh.
skin. Young and fresh.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit about your Christian faith. So what role did your Christian faith play in your marriage? Because some people will argue with you that even those that are not even Christians still have successful marriages. So, but in your own case now, what role does your Christian faith play in your home?
Thank you. Christianity, to me, by my own interpretation, is not going to the church or reading the Bible or whatever. It's your action and the setup of your own family. If you have a family, people can point Two, to say as a model. That's, you've jumped the first scale. The family background and the interaction and the history they are leaving behind
Right.
is one thing. Then, on personal reaction to what you have said, I happened to be a banker after the teaching work. Always very busy. And alongside, as soon as I left the banking hall, straight home. No question of going to the beer parlor or whatever. I don't drink.
Wow.
And my wife understands that I don't drink, apart from water. So, she understands what I can do. And I take her as a model.
I think there's we can one thing I'm just taking from this is there's a level of discipline from you both. I think I don't know whether that is from your upbringing, your background, but you have a discipline on your own side, and there's still discipline on mommy's side too. So you coming together alone even helped work. Or what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like she said her background, her parent model, the type of home she will want to have a future. I think that's a challenge for us.
Yeah.
For us as parents right now, what home are we modeling? What are we creating in the mind of our children? You know, like she's an example, a testimony of a good home. She brought to our home what she saw her parents do. So what are we doing for our children? What are we modeling for them to imagine their life in future? So
And the same example is what they're passing on to their own children too.
Yeah.
That is very awesome.
That's very,
All right,
very
so again, people feel like some failed marriages are partly because some people believe in marriage counseling. Like, did you ever go through any of such?
No.
And definitely you both qualified to be a marriage counselor now, because if I'll say, like, if marriage degrees were to be awarded for marriage, you would have backed like 5 doctorates by now.
right.
Even more, 5 or more.
Right.
So daddy, if you look at mommy in the eyes now, I want you let them know that the love is still there. I want you both to look at each other in the eyes. What do you see when you look at mommy in the eyes? What do you see?
My angel.
Oh. So mommy, you're going to respond to what do you see now when you look into daddy's eyes?
It's a darling.
Oh, that's awesome. This is
awesome.
love. So it's not a mistake that I would say love never fails.
fails.
All right, so to wrap this up now, we have just a little bit of like a game. We want to make you feel you're still young. You know, you're still young.
Yes.
Yeah, you're younger than how you're still gonna be. So just a little
Hoping
bit
to
of-
be 80.
hoping to God, by God's grace, sir. Amen, sir. So this D is for dad. This is for mom. This is for dad. This is for mom. So we're just gonna ask a question about who does this and who does that. She'll take it off from there. So if the answer is daddy, just show us the D side. If it is mommy, if it is you, then you show us the M side.
Okay, so we already have some of the questions in the discussion, but we're just going to play it as a game. So we are going to answer. Don't look at daddy's paper and don't look at mommy's paper. So everybody will face the
Just
paper
show-
and
yeah.
show us. So the first question: who apologizes first? Who tenders apology first?
Follow?
Yeah, show us on the paper.
It shows in the
Is it
paper.
you?
So if it is D, just no. D's at the back. Yeah, just flip it around.
Okay.
Yeah,
M
just
for mom.
just raise it up for us to see.
D. Okay.
Okay, so that is actually correct. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, who is more tolerant? Wow.
That is interesting. Well, I think Daddy already told us that question. Who is the best cook? That goes for mommy.
And
Yay.
finally, let's see now, because now all the answers have been the same. So that tells us that you are in agreement with the question. So finally, who shows more affection?
Everybody will place themselves in this situation.
Okay.
Daddy.
So, Daddy, which one will you go for?
Affection?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Mommy agreed
All
already.
right. Thank you
Awesome.
very much. Thank you. This is a very interesting and even an impactful section. We are so much blessed to have you around here and for sharing your experience with us. And before we just leave, finally, we just want you, maybe in just one sentence each, give to what message do you have for the younger generations on how they can get to where you've gotten to? Because whatever you did worked for you. So, what advice do you have for the younger generations and people out there now, those in marriages or those who are struggling?
Thank you. As soon as the dotted lines are signed, it's not every time that things will work well as such. There may be disagreement, but both of you should be able to sit together or be on bed together and settle for good.
Thank you very much. So, Mommy, what do you have for those out there too?
Understanding and tolerance.
All right. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of this episode. So we have learned so far from Daddy and Mommy. This is 50 amazing years. And from the little game that we played now, you realize that they all came out with the same answer, and we are so much blessed. Thank you very much. By the way, they are not done yet. They still have forever to go.
Amen.
Yes.
What do you have for Daddy and Mommy?
Yes, we want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We are so honored and privileged to have you. And thank you for giving us our Rhode Island president, Brother Ola Oloyede.
Yeah, by the way, we forgot to even introduce that. So
Yes.
you go ahead and introduce that.
Yes, so Daddy and Mommy are parents of Nasadam Rhode Island chapter president in person of Brother Ola Oloyede. Thank you for modeling a good home for him.
We thank God for everything.
Thank you very much. All right, until we see you again on the next episode, sit back, and God bless you.
Amen.
Amen.